What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin. Today we're reviewing the Uncanny X-Force, the Apocalypse Solution, written by one of my favorite writers, Rick Remender, with art by Jerome Opena and Leonardo Manco. So this collects 4 issues. This graphic novel came out in 2011, but these comics came out in 2010, right? And by the way, at the end of the video, I'm going to show off some new books I got. So if you're into comics and graphic novels, check that out, which you would probably be if you're clicking on this video. Yeah, so this book is pretty famous because of a certain disturbing scene that happens in this book. So the story of this graphic novel is that this takes place during Victor Gischler's run on X-Men, which was around the same time. And in that run, Scott, also known as Cyclops, wanted to take the X-Men in a more heroic direction. He didn't want them to be fighting a never-ending war, between mutants and humans. He took them in more of a superhero direction. But like Warren, aka Angel, and Wolverine decide, hey, mutants are still under threat. We need to bring back X-Force, right? And this X-Force is made up of Wolverine, Phantom X, who's part of the Weapon Plus program, who kind of like, genetically engineered super soldier spy who has powers of misdirection, which is basically a fancy word for genjutsu. He basically has like Itachi powers. You got Cyclops, who's the psychic ninja, the sister of Captain Britain, or half sister, and then you have Warren, obviously Angel, right? So also Deadpool's on the team, right? And yeah, so in this story, our characters have to fight Apocalypse, who is resurrected, and they also have to fight his chosen horsemen, who apparently they set up here that Apocalypse like chose like mutants from throughout history, 4 mutants from throughout history to be his final horsemen, to protect him and serve him in the final hour. And these are the final horsemen. You got War. I think one of these two is Famine and Pestilence. She controls beetles. He can create a sound wave to kill you, and he can, using metal rings, he can give you bubonic plague, gray death, or whatever, black death, And the art in this book is fantastic. The dialogue is good, right? There's some jokes here and there. There's also some melodrama where, Psylocke has to help Warren control his Archangel transformation, because, Warren is kind of a crappy fighter without turning into Archangel, who was, it was Apocalypse who turned him into Archangel, right? He was, I think, death for him, right? Yeah, so, Deadpool, I thought, was good in this book, but I kind of like the Deadpool that doesn't just talk to himself and make bad jokes. I like the Deadpool that reacts to the voices in his head, which they're not here, unfortunately. So, the twist for this series is that Apocalypse is a kid, and he's really into superhero stuff. And at the end of the book, right? Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, first, you have you have some really cool fights, really cool art. Like, they get our X-Force gets their butt kicked by the 4 horsemen, and Warren gets out of commission, and Deadpool has to feed him to get him back to back into the games. Which he feeds him with Pop Rocks, Coke, and his flesh. Which I'll show you that scene here. That scene is very iconic, right? Which where is it? Here it is. You know, Warren asks him, "Hey, what am I eating right now?" And he's like, Deadpool's like, "If I tell you, do you promise to keep eating?" Oh my god! But yeah, there's a scene where obviously, I really liked I really liked this line where, because the apocalypse is like a mutant supremacist, wants to wipe out all the humans. Of course, his henchmen would also be mutant supremacists. So they call, one of them calls Wolverine a race traitor swine. And Wolverine's about to kill her, and he's like, "It ain't about race, darling." That was when this is what the X-Men should be about. Where Jonathan Hickman and the X-Men office took them into the direction where it's all about race. Shouldn't be about race, And he says, "I'm an equal opportunity killer." Yeah, I thought that was really great. But yeah, you have there's the scene here where the finale, they find a way to beat the Four Horsemen, and then you have the finale where Psylocke was the first to see that Apocalypse was a kid, and decides to fight the other X-Force members to keep her keep them from killing Apocalypse, right? And Deadpool doesn't talk during this scene because Wolverine stabbed him with paralyzing agent from one of Archangel's feather daggers. But I like to think that Deadpool would still be like, "What the fuck, man?" So this was a very heavy scene. And I'm not going to spoil the twist, but I don't spoil what happens. But I like to think, Rick Remender gave enough evidence that, the that the kid probably would have, if things did not happen, if the kid would have grown up to be all right if he was taken out of this environment. So I'm not going to spoil what happens, but yeah, it has a pretty heavy ending. So what would I give this book? Art was good, dialogue was good, the action was good, the story was good, and this book, if you can get it, it's like less than $20. I don't know, or at least that's what it used to go for. It is a light volume, but it's well worth the. If you can get this for less than $20, or even $20, it's well worth it. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. So I'm going to show you guys what I got at the comic book store. First thing I got was the facsimile of Tomb of Dracula #1, which I think this is written by Marv Wolfman. And we reviewed some Tomb of Dracula comics last year because it was part of that, we reviewed this Blade comic book that Marvel put out that collected a bunch of issues featuring Blade, and some of them were Tomb of Dracula comics because Blade's first appearance was in Tomb of Dracula. So this was a facsimile they put out last week for $5. I picked it up. Apparently there's an anime of this, right? I swear, I shit you not, and we might review that at some point. But yeah, I picked this up for $5. There was also a Sabrina the Teenage Witch comic. They didn't have that. Other stuff I picked up Animal Man Born to Be Wild. This is volume 4, written by Peter Milligan, and I didn't notice at the time, but apparently, Grant Morrison's Animal Man run did continue after he left the the series, which I have the first 3 volumes. This is volume 4, and according to the comic book guy, you know, this was good. The series, when Peter Milliken wrote it, was still good, but the chick who took over sucked, which is yeah. Yeah, so I wasn't going to get this because it was like 30 something bucks, and I was trying to keep my, haul to like $100, but he talked it up so good that I had to pick it up. Which I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna review the first 3 volumes, and then we'll review this. So I was also looking for Namor books. He didn't have any Namor books that weren't like expensive keys. So I picked this up. This is Namor Visionaries by John Byrne, Volume 2. He didn't have Volume 1. I paid I paid $30 for this. He should have gave me a deal. But, yeah. I don't know, guys. You guys want me to review this? He doesn't have Volume 1, and he said it's probably out of print. But, yeah, I don't know. I also picked up something that we might review for Halloween month, and that's Lady Death Boundless Volume 1. I thought this was the original run by Brian Pulido or whatever, but this isn't. Apparently, like on the website, they said they had the original run of Lady Death on trade, but like when I went there, it's like, oh no, they had this and they had Origins, and that's apparently a new run too. But I don't know. This is one of those characters where I've heard of for the longest time. It had an animated film back in, I think, like 2004. And, she comes off like a female Spawn and Faust, but more fantasy. So hopefully it's good. I don't know. And the last thing I picked up was Jughead, The Hunger, Volume 2, where Jughead turns into a werewolf and Archie and Betty have to hunt him down. I reviewed Volume 1 last year. Probably should have reviewed Volume 1 and Volume 2 in the same year, but, we're going to review this for Halloween month. So, yeah, I paid $22 for this. Yeah. So, guys, that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed.